Welcome to the advanced tier. We now push every idea from B4 to its modern, research-grade limit. Expect hardware details, scaling math, and named architectures. We'll dissect FlashAttention's Hopper-era kernels, the rope scaling methods that unlock 100K plus contexts, the routing internals of modern MOE, multi-head latent attention, state space models like Mamba, and streaming attention. These are the topics that separate a strong candidate from an expert. One framing before we dive, because it's what distinguishes expert answers. At this level, almost nothing is a pure modeling idea. The biggest wins come from co-designing the algorithm with the GPU kernel. FlashAttention and Mamba are both really kernel stories. So for every technique, ask which scarce resource it buys back and whether it keeps the math exact or approximates it. And take the dates seriously. The rapid-fire sequence from 2022 to 2024, FlashAttention, rope scaling, VLLM, mixed trial, DeepSeek, Mamba, is a story of the field discovering, one bottleneck at a time, that serving large models is a systems problem as much as a learning problem. Resource, co-design, exactness, hold those three as we go. Let's go to the frontier, starting with FlashAttention-2 and 3. First, how FlashAttention got another order of magnitude. Before the frontier techniques, here's a map of every bottleneck they fight, so each one has a place to hang. Experts answer why by naming the exact resource being saved. 3 resources are scarce: compute, memory capacity, and memory bandwidth. The NVIDIA Hopper generation in 2022 added FP8 and asynchronous copies, reshaping what's optimal. Each frontier method targets a specific corner of this space. FlashAttention-3 chases compute and bandwidth, YaRN attacks the context ceiling, Multi-head Latent Attention attacks KV capacity, Mamba attacks the quadratic wall outright. Keep this assignment in mind as we go. The professional move is to profile first. The torch profiler tells you whether you're compute-bound or memory-bound before you change anything. Optimize the bottleneck you measured, not the one you assumed. Amdahl's law is the quiet boss here. Optimizing a small slice yields a small win, and the bottleneck shifts as you fix it. That's why long context KV memory attracts so much research right now. At long context decode, KV bandwidth and capacity tower over raw compute. That imbalance is the entire shape of this tier. Now the kernel that maximizes compute throughput, FlashAttention-3. Let me give you a framework you can literally recite in an interview because it organizes every remaining topic. If you're compute-bound, you want better kernels. FlashAttention-2 and 3, lower precision like FP8. If you're bandwidth-bound, you move fewer bytes. Grouped query attention, latent attention, quantized caches. If you're capacity-bound, running out of room, you shrink or evict the cache, page it, or offload. And if you're length-bound, hitting the context ceiling, you scale rope, use windows, or switch to a sub-quadratic architecture. Diagnose, then prescribe. Every advanced episode is one branch of this tree. Map the symptom to the cure. That's expert-level fluency. Name the bottleneck, then pick the tool. That is expert-level reasoning. On to FlashAttention-2 and 3. FlashAttention-1 cut memory traffic. Versions 2 and 3 went after raw GPU utilization, squeezing the hardware itself. This is where kernel engineering meets the transformer. FlashAttention-2 from TreeDAO in 2023 rebalanced the work across the GPU. FlashAttention-3 from Jay Shah and colleagues in 2024 specifically exploits the Hopper architecture. Each version chased a higher fraction of peak flops. Version 2 reduced non-mathmal operations and parallelized across the sequence dimension. Version 3 splits, warps into producers and consumers, overlapping data movement with computation. FP8 support with incoherent processing to control error is the headline of version 3. You rarely write these kernels yourself, you select them. PyTorch lets you force the FlashAttention backend via the STPA kernel context. The math is identical, only the schedule on the GPU changes. The subtle point, FlashAttention-1 was memory optimal but still left Hopper's tensor cores idle around 35% utilization while softmax ran. Version 3's asynchrony overlaps those phases, roughly doubling throughput. The climb in hardware utilization tells the whole story. Each version fills more of the GPU's potential. Same attention, progressively better scheduling. The FP8 headline hides a real danger worth understanding. 8-bit floats have almost no mantissa, so rounding error is large, and language models are notorious for outlier activations that blow up naive, low-precision attention. FlashAttention-3 controls this with 2 tricks. Block quantization scales small blocks independently, so one giant value can't ruin a whole tile. Then incoherent processing multiplies by a random orthogonal matrix. In practice, a fast Hadamard transform. which spreads outliers out so no single dimension dominates. Together, they cut FP8 attention error by about 2.5 times versus a naive baseline. That's the difference between FP8 being a research curiosity and a usable speedup. Low precision is a numerics problem first, a speed win second. The frontier of attention is scheduling, not new math. Next, stretching rope to 100,000 token contexts. A model trained on 4K tokens fails at 8K. Rope scaling methods extend that limit, often with little or no retraining. This is the toolkit behind today's 128K context models. Position interpolation from Chen and colleagues in 2023 was the first fix. NTK-aware scaling and then YaRN from Bo and Peng and colleagues in 2023 refined it. All of them manipulate rope's rotation frequencies. Position interpolation simply divides every position so the model never sees an unfamiliar angle, but it blurs fine local detail. NTK-aware scaling instead stretches low frequencies more than high ones. YaRN combines that with a per-band temperature and a short fine-tune. NTK-aware scaling is shockingly small. You just raise the rope-based theta by a power of the scale factor, which stretches low frequencies while sparing high ones. A few lines can quadruple a model's usable context. The deeper view is signal processing. Each rope dimension is a clock. Fast clocks wrap around and become ambiguous over long contexts. YaRN's trick is to leave the fast clocks mostly alone, preserving local ordering. Stretching the context is like stretching this wave. Do it uniformly and you distort everything. Do it per frequency and you keep the important detail. That selective stretch is exactly what YaRN gets right. Let's actually extend a model and see the choices. Say it was trained at 4,000 tokens and we want 16,000, a 4 times scale factor. With position interpolation, you simply divide every position by 4, so the model never sees an angle outside its trained range. Cheap, but it compresses fine local detail, hurting tasks that need precise short-range order. NTK-aware scaling instead raises the rope base by that power formula, stretching slow frequencies a lot and fast ones barely at all. YaRN goes further, tuning each frequency band separately and adding a short fine-tune, which is why it reaches the longest contexts with the least quality loss. The lesson? The scale factor is the start of the decision, not the end. Same for X target, 3 very different quality outcomes. To go long, stretch position in the frequency domain, not uniformly. Next, the routing internals that make big MOE models work. We saw what mixture of experts is, now the hard engineering, keeping experts balanced and sharding them across GPUs. This is where MOE goes from idea to trillion parameter system. Switch transformer set the template. Mix-Tral popularized top 2 of 8. DeepSeek MOE in 2024 pushed toward many fine-grained experts, plus a few always-on shared ones. Each design is really a different answer to the balance problem. The load balancing loss multiplies the fraction of tokens routed to an expert by that expert's mean gate probability, summed over experts. It bottoms out when load is even. Experts are sharded across GPUs, so routing means an all-to-all exchange of tokens. In code, the auxiliary loss is a few lines added to the cross entropy. Alpha is small, but without it, the router collapses. That one extra term is what keeps every expert learning. DeepSeek MOE's insight: make experts smaller and more numerous for specialization, but add a couple of shared experts that always run to capture common patterns. That split cuts the redundancy that plagues coarse experts. The router still lights up a token's top experts, but now imagine each box on a different GPU with tokens shuffled across the network to reach them. Balance keeps that shuffle from overloading any single GPU. The part that humbles teams in production is communication. When experts live on different GPUs, every MOE layer needs an all-to-all to send tokens to their experts and a second all-to-all to bring the results back. On a fast NVLink island, that's fine. Across slower networking, those two exchanges can eat the very compute you saved by being sparse. Routing decisions and network topology are deeply entangled. There are subtle failure modes too. Tokens that exceed an expert's capacity are simply dropped, contributing nothing, so capacity factors trade memory against quality. And training adds tricks like a router Z-loss to keep gate logits from exploding, plus noise to stop experts from dying early. Real MOE is as much distributed systems as it is modeling. The model is the easy half, the routing and comms are the hard half. The model is easy, the routing and balance are the real work. Next, compressing the KV cache itself with latent attention. GQA shrank the cache by sharing heads. The frontier compresses it further, down to a few % of the original. This is the hottest area in efficient inference right now. Three families: latent compression, as in DeepSeek V2's MLA from 2024, low-bit quantization, and eviction methods like H2O from Zhang and colleagues in 2023. They attack different parts of the same memory bill. Multi-head latent attention compresses keys and values jointly into a low-rank latent vector. You cache only that latent. At attention time, you up-project it back to full keys and values, cutting the cache to a few percent. The latent dimension R is far smaller than the full key value width, so the cache tensor is tiny. Up-projection matrices rebuild K and V when needed. Memory saved on storage paid back as a little extra compute. The elegant part: the up projection matrices can be mathematically absorbed into the query and output projections, so MLA reconstructs K and V almost for free. Eviction methods like H2O are cheaper but drop information. MLA bakes the compression into training instead. Relative to full multi-head attention, GQA already cuts the cache. MLA and low-bit quantization push it into single digits. Smaller cache means longer context on the same hardware. With 4 ways to shrink the cache, the real skill is choosing, and they aren't interchangeable. Grouped query attention is the safe default. A few lines, an 8 times reduction, and you can even retrofit it onto a trained model. Multi-head latent attention gives the best ratio of all, but it's an architectural decision you bake in before training, like DeepSeek did. Quantization is post hoc and stacks on top of either, drop the cache to int8 or int4 and accept some loss. Eviction methods like H2O are the cheapest of all but permanently throw tokens away, risking recall. A great answer doesn't name one winner, it matches the method to whether you control training, your quality budget, and your hardware. These compose production stacks often use GQA plus quantization. Cache latent, not the full keys and values, that is MLA. Next, escaping the quadratic entirely with state space models. Every trick so far kept softmax attention. This question asks, what if we replace it to escape the quadratic entirely? It is the boldest direction in sequence modeling. Linear attention from Katharopoulos and colleagues in 2020 removes the softmax so attention becomes a running sum. Mamba from Albert Gu and Tridao in 2023 takes the state space route. All of them aim for linear time and a fixed size state. Without softmax, you can reorder the matrix product so attention turns into a recurrence with a fixed size state, linear in length. Mamba's twist is making the state transitions depend on the input, so it can choose what to remember. Here is linear attention as a recurrence, a single state matrix S that accumulates, giving constant work per token and no growing cache. No KV cache that grows with length, just a fixed state. The catch: a fixed size state is lossy. Tasks needing exact recall from far back, like copying, are where attention still wins. That's why 2024 models like Jamba interleave Mamba and attention layers to get both. Attention's cost curves upward as the square of length. State space models flatten that to a straight line, the whole motivation. Linear scaling is the prize, lossy memory is the price. Linear time recurrence sounds great, but it almost didn't work on GPUs. Earlier state space models stayed fast by being equivalent to a convolution. Mamba's selectivity, making the state transitions depend on the input, breaks that shortcut. A naive sequential loop over thousands of steps would be hopelessly slow on a GPU. So Gu and Dao reformulated it as a parallel scan, the same prefix sum trick that parallelizes a running total. Then they made it hardware-aware in a way that should sound familiar. Keep the state in fast SRAM, fuse the operations, and recompute in the backward pass instead of storing. It's FlashAttention's exact philosophy applied to a completely different architecture, and it's why a good answer credits the kernel as much as the math. The algorithm and the GPU kernel were co-designed. That's the lesson. Trade exact pairwise recall for linear time and constant memory. Final frontier topic: streaming to effectively infinite context. 2 final tricks. One lets a model stream forever on one GPU. The other spreads a single huge context across many GPUs. Together they answer, how do models reach million token context? Streaming LLM from Guangxuan Chao and colleagues in 2023 discovered attention sinks. Ring attention from Hao Liu and colleagues the same year distributes context across devices. Neither approximates attention. They reorganize the cache. Attention sinks are the surprise. The very first tokens attract enormous attention weight regardless of content. Evict them and quality crashes. Streaming LLM keeps those few sync tokens plus a recent window. Ring attention instead shards the sequence and rotates KV blocks around a ring of GPUs, overlapping compute with communication. The streaming LLM cache is almost trivial. Always retain the first few sync tokens, then a rolling recent window, and drop the middle. That tiny change restores stable generation over millions of tokens. Why do syncs exist? Softmax weights must sum to 1, even when no token is truly relevant. The model parks that excess attention on the first tokens. Some models even train an explicit sync token to absorb it cleanly. Ring attention looks like this. The long sequence is split across GPUs, and each device computes its slice while KV blocks circulate around the ring. Context length then scales with the number of devices. Here's a distinction that catches people out, because the two methods solve different problems despite both being called long context. Streaming LLM keeps the model fluent and stable forever, but it has genuinely forgotten the middle of the stream. Those tokens were evicted. It's perfect for a never-ending chat assistant, and wrong for answering questions about content buried deep in a long document. Ring attention is the opposite trade. It keeps the entire context, nothing is dropped, by sharding it across GPUs and overlapping computation with passing KV blocks around the ring. So your context length scales with how many devices you can afford. One buys unbounded fluency cheaply, the other buys unbounded memory expensively. Naming that difference is the expert move. Endless fluency and total recall are different goals. Pick on purpose. Keep the syncs, roll the window, ring the GPUs, and context goes effectively unbounded. That completes the frontier. Let's synthesize the advanced tier. The advanced tier ranged wide, but it collapses into 4 frontier ideas. 1. Saturate the GPU with FlashAttention-3. 2. Stretch context with YaRN. 3. Compress the cache with latent attention. 4. Escape the quadratic with state space models and streaming. Everyone was grounded in a named 2023 or 2024 paper. Step back and look at the whole journey in one breath. We began with a single token, turned it into an embedding, blended embeddings with attention, wrapped that in a block, and generated text. Then we made it efficient, grouped query attention, rope, flash attention, mixture of experts, and paging, and finally pushed to the frontier with FlashAttention-3, YaRN, latent attention, state space models, and streaming. If you remember nothing else, remember the habit that ran through every tier, name the bottleneck, compute, memory capacity or bandwidth, and then reach for the tool that attacks it. That single habit will serve you in interviews, in research papers, and in production, long after the specific techniques have moved on. Master the habit and the next breakthrough will fit right into it. You've gone from what a token is to the 2024 research frontier. That is the entire arc of modern LLM internals. Thanks for watching the whole series.